So the Grand Regent Thragg was born on planet Viltrum thousands of years ago. He was trained in all manners of combat and was bred to be the strongest among the Viltrumites. After their emperor, Uraal, was killed by Thaedus, Thragg fought in the Viltrumite civil war and displayed his incredible strength. After the battle, the Viltrumites would emerge as an unbeatable race led by him. Thragg would be granted the title of Grand Regent, tasked with finding the heir of Uraal. He would keep Uraal's skull as a reminder of what would happen if the Empire fell into disarray. Later, the Scourge virus would be created, and the planet's population would be severely depleted, making him believe that all the heirs of Uraal had died. Afterward, he would cease all attempts to find the heir, feeling that he had earned his place among them. After the Scourge virus hit, only 50 pure-blooded Viltrumites were left alive, and Thragg was tasked with bringing the Empire back to its former glory, while also fighting their enemies in the galaxy. Later, after Omni-Man's betrayal, he sent Conquest to take control of Earth. But after Conquest failed to kill Mark, he had to face Thragg. Conquest begged for forgiveness, with Thragg threatening to kill him. Seeing Conquest as still useful, Thragg sent Lucan, Conquest, and an unnamed Viltrumite to kill Invincible and anyone who was aiding him. After Conquest was killed by Invincible, and the coalition of planets started attacking planets acquired by Viltrumites. It is revealed that Thragg has an inside spy in the coalition of planets and has tasked him with taking down the planetary barrier on Talescria. Soon, Thragg attacks the coalition of planets base with his army and a few Viltrumites. Afterward, he would speak to the skull of the former emperor of Viltrum, Uraal. He states that Uraal will be avenged after Thaedus is dead. But after Omni-Man and his sons came to help Thaedus, he retreats from Talescria when Mark and Oliver destroy his warship. He rushes into battle, hoping to fight back, but decides against it. He and the other Viltrumites retreat to Viltrum. 3 days later, when the coalition arrives, he leads the Viltrumite charge on them. In the beginning, Thragg attacks Space Racer and Mark rushes to attack him. Mark lands on blow on Thragg, but it has no effect on him. He smacks Mark away for Oliver to attempt to attack him. He catches Oliver's punch and dismembers his arm while breaking his jaw, nearly killing Oliver in the process. Invincible, who gets enraged, attacks Thragg, but Thragg only gets a nosebleed. Thragg mocks him, stating that he is in over his head, and Conquest fears him. Mark reveals that he killed Conquest previously, and now he will kill Thragg. After Thaedus, Mark, and Nolan destroy Viltrum, Thragg becomes enraged and cries. Thragg angrily states that Thaedus destroyed Viltrumite's heritage, history, and the planet itself. Thaedus offers him a chance to surrender, but Thragg refuses. He rushes towards Thaedus and decapitates him, and declares that Lord Uraal is now avenged. Thragg declares that anyone who opposes the Viltrum Empire will die. He rushes toward Mark and punches him. Invincible attempts to hurt Thragg, but to no avail. He punches Invincible's temples until he is saved by Nolan Grayson. Thragg reveals to Nolan that Thaedus had killed Lord Uraal, with Nolan revealing that the Viltrumites deserve extinction for their crimes. Thragg headbutts Nolan, but is interrupted by the Battle Beast. He throws Battle Beast to the side and grabs Mark and Nolan once again, attempting to smash their heads together. Nolan intervenes, hoping to allow his son to escape. But he kicks Nolan and catches up to Mark, smashing his face in the process. Nolan catches up to them and Thragg impales him with his arm. As he was about to kill Invincible, he stops. Thragg decides to spare the duo, much to Craig's confusion. Thragg states that the Viltrum Empire will need all Viltrumites. Craig refuses to spare them, but Thragg stops him. So Thragg and Viltrumites retreat to their warship. Later on Earth, Thragg reveals himself to Mark and Nolan, stating that Viltrumites are here. Mark attempts to fight Thragg, but Thragg suggests they talk. Thragg decides to surrender, but on one condition: the Viltrumites take over Earth. Mark loses his temper, but Thragg goes into detail about the takeover. Thragg states that the Viltrumites will hide among humans and interbreed with them, replenishing their ranks. Thragg goes on to say that the Viltrumite will not interfere with human events, and the closest to pure-blooded Viltrumites are Viltrumite-human hybrids, so they will keep breeding on Earth until their empire rises again. Mark refuses at first, but after thinking about what Thragg and other Viltrumites can do to Earth if they refuse, he reluctantly accepts Thragg's offer. Thragg thanks the duo for ensuring Viltrumite survival and leaves, ending the Viltrumite War. Later, Thragg flies up to space after Alan and Oliver battle Mark. He tells the duo that he knows about Alan's plan to dispense the Scourge virus onto Earth and asks why he shouldn't kill them. Alan reveals that he will use the Scourge virus on him, and Thragg states that he can kill him before the virus has an effect. Thragg offers a truce to Alan and explains that their fighting is pointless because if he kills Alan, they'll be back in the same place again. Alan hesitantly accepts, with Oliver getting angry at Thragg. Their meeting is interrupted by the Guardians of the Globe and Robot attempting to capture Mark. Monster Girl attacks Thragg, but with no effect. Thragg knocks her away, nearly killing her. During the chaos, Oliver is able to grab the virus dispenser and rush to Earth. They stop battling, and Bulletproof wonders who Thragg is. Soon, it is revealed that Mark has been infected with the Scourge virus, and Thragg takes him into the Viltrumite warship. Thragg reveals to Cecil Stedman his agreement with Mark and that they have no choice in the matter. Thragg appears to the Guardians of the Globe and Dinosaurus. After Dinosaurus convinces Thragg that Dinosaurus's genius is useful, he demands that the Guardians leave. Thragg goes into one of the observation rooms. A scientist tells Thragg that Mark is the grandson of Lord Argol. He kills the scientist and leaves for his quarters. He is interrupted by Dinosaurus hacking and gaining access to his quarters. Thragg leaves to see Mark and attempts to kill Mark, not wanting to give away his title of Grand Regent. Dinosaurus unleashes a surprise attack on him, only breaking his claws in the process, and Thragg remains unharmed. Dinosaurus reveals that he set explosives around the ship to correspond to his low heartbeat. Thragg pummels him and throws him aside after hearing multiple explosions. Dinosaurus attempts to bite Thragg, but ends up shattering his teeth in the process. Thragg breaks Dinosaurus's jaw and flies to fix the explosion. Dinosaurs escape with Mark, and when Thragg heads back, he sees Atom Eve asking where Mark is. Eve attempts to battle Thragg, but Thragg laughs and directs her to Dinosaurus. Later, after the invasion of London by the Flaxons, Thragg reprimands Craig for interfering with the events. Craig states that he is sorry, but someone there carries his child. Craig then reveals that he loves all dozen of his mates, much to Thragg's disgust. Later, Thragg calls a meeting of the Viltrum Empire and enforces that they are not to interfere with Mark and Dinosaurus's events, or they will be killed by him. Thragg would reprimand Lucan, Craig, and Anissa for not obeying his orders. After being disgusted with Lucan and Craig's affection towards humans, he demands that they leave. Later, Thragg arrives on the other side of the moon and sees Nolan with his wife. Thragg becomes enraged seeing him and rushes to attack him. While their battle continues, Thragg reveals to Nolan that he is Argol's son. Nolan refuses to fight him, and Thragg severely injures him. He attempts to finish him off until he is interrupted by Craig, Anissa, Lucan, and Thula. After finding out that Nolan is Argol's son, they turn on Thragg and attempt to kill him until Nolan asks them to spare him. Thragg is then imprisoned and argues with Nolan. Thragg demands that Nolan kill him if he fears him. Nolan refuses and says that he will change the Viltrumites' brutal ways instead. Nolan ends up sentencing Thragg to exile, much to his surprise. After Thragg was sentenced to exile, he would occupy planet Thraxa due to his extremely long lifespan. He would also impregnate several Thraxan women in order to create an army of Thraxan Viltrumite hybrids. Knowing the Coalition will probably send someone to kill him, he is shocked to learn that Battle Beast is tasked with the job. Thragg goes on to say that Battle Beast would be a great ally if he wasn't on the other side. Their conversation is interrupted by the Ragnars being released. Battle Beast assists Thragg in killing them due to him not wanting an advantage. Thragg gets disemboweled by one of them, and their battle is interrupted by Thraxans assisting Thragg. Thragg tells the Thraxans to leave, and Battle Beast disembowels himself in order to make their battle even, with Thragg mocking him. The duo charges at each other, with Thragg having the initial advantage until Battle Beast bites him, causing Thragg's left eye to be severely damaged. The battle goes on for days with no clear sign of who is the victor, but in the end, Thragg successfully kills Battle Beast. Before he dies, Battle Beast thanks him for the battle, and Thragg crushes his heart. He also succumbs to his injuries and loses consciousness. He is then transported by Thraxans off the planet, and he also takes many Thraxan warriors and women with him. He then has his left eye and gashed open head patched up. Thragg would then have Battle Beast's hide torn off and wear it as a cape with a golden Viltrum Empire symbol over it. When one of the women asks how he is doing, he says that his health is improving. On the run, Thragg, the Thraxans, and his many children roam the cosmos so that they can avoid Coalition spies searching for them. Soon, Space Racer detects him, and Thragg kills several Coalition soldiers. While Space Racer runs, Thragg attempts to kill him, but he survives. While Mark was in his coma for 5 years, Thragg was rebuilding the ranks of the Viltrum Empire, and all of his children had reached adolescence. He makes a move on the Coalition by having his daughter and son attack one of the planets under the Coalition. Later, he breaks up a skirmish between his son Onan and daughter Uraal. Oliver, who is acting as a double agent for Thragg, asks to meet him in person. Thragg, in the meantime, kills some Ragnars in front of his other children and then orders Onan and Uraal to kill Mark Grayson. Thragg calls Oliver again to inform him that he has located Mark and that he will kill him and his family despite Oliver's disapproval. While his children fight Mark and Eve, Thragg arrives and grabs Terra. As she struggles against Thragg, Oliver intervenes, allowing her to escape. After a short battle, Thragg impales Oliver and kills him in front of Terra. He then grabs Terra and rubs Oliver's blood all over her face. Soon, Mark and Eve arrive. Mark holds Onan hostage, asking that Thragg let Terra go. Mark then kills Onan and begins attacking Thragg. Thragg gains the upper hand and rips Mark in half, while Uraal seemingly kills Eve. He leaves with his daughter, and Terra is left alone to die, while her parents are in a near-death state. Later, Uraal is shown crying over what happened to Onan. Thragg tells her that both she and Onan were very special to him, as he reluctantly tries to comfort her, telling her that they will avenge her brother. He continues his conquest with his army, taking over more planets and causing more deaths. Later, when the coalition of planets find Thragg's base and launch an all-out attack, he sends his children to fight Mark. When they try to fight him, they end up getting splattered. As he is too strong for them, he begs them to stop as they are killing themselves. Uraal confronts Thragg over this, but he grabs her by the throat, telling her that no sacrifice is too great for their mission, claiming that fallen soldiers were weak and deserved to die. During the final battle, Nolan and Thragg face off, exchanging blow after blow. During the fight, Nolan tries to fight off Thragg the best he can, but Thragg is shown to be too much for him as he breaks Nolan's hand by head, butting it. Mark tries to step in and stop Thragg from hurting Nolan further, but Thragg responds by grabbing him and throwing him away, saying he'll save him for after he killed Nolan. When he returns, Nolan headbutts him in defiance, but to no effect. Thragg readies his killing move, but Nolan makes a quick move to keep Thragg's hand from hitting his heart. Thragg immediately swipes through Nolan's body, tearing his heart out and leaving him for dead. Mark, furious with what he just witnessed, charges at Thragg. Thragg throws him away while calling in his children for assistance. He starts using them as projectiles by throwing them at Mark, but this causes them to splatter on him since he is too strong for them. Mark, disgusted by this, grabs him and pulls them both into the sun, initiating the final fight between them. As they fight with the sun burning their bodies, Mark questions Thragg on his motivation. Thragg says it is all about revenge for what Invincible's bloodline did to stop him from claiming the empire he deserved to rule. When Thragg tries to make an escape, Mark pulls them both into the core of the sun, burning all of their flesh off. After that, Mark, despite knowing that he can't hear his thoughts anymore, starts to describe in perfect detail how much Thragg sucks as both a leader and a Viltrumite for clinging to the old practices that brought their race to the brink of extinction, fighting for selfish and empty causes, and holding their species back from achieving their true potential. Mark then gains the upper hand when one of Robot's armors arrives and attaches itself to him mid-speech, granting him a few extra moments of protection from the searing heat, whilst Thragg continues to burn. With their fight getting more intense with more and more explosions from the sun, the lava ends up melting the robot armor Invincible is wearing. They end up fighting inches away from the sun as their bodies become even more unrecognizable. In the final moments of the fight, Thragg, having sustained far more damage than his opponent, breaks both of Mark's arms in a fit of rage and desperation. But Mark thinks quickly and then finally kills Thragg by ripping his throat out with his teeth. After that, Mark is fully prepared to die as well, but Alan shows up and carries him to safety, leaving Thragg's corpse behind to be consumed by the sun. With Thragg now dead, the Viltrumites can finally move forward as a race and become a force for good in the universe under the leadership of Mark's family. So yeah, that's all for this video, and thanks for watching.